Okay, so yeah, in this class, from this class we are going to start backend development. Okay, so till our last class to we complete our React.js. Using React.js and generative AI, we create one e-commerce application. That e-commerce application contains lot of features, like it uses the context API, and like use effect hooks also it uses. So now from this today's class we are going to start backend development. So in backend development we have like we are learning MERN stack, right? So we have Node.js, Express.js and MongoDB. So this Node.js and Express.js are together, like Express.js is a framework of your Node.js. We can create APIs. Like the main purpose of learning backend development is want to create some APIs. Okay, we want to create some APIs, so we can create APIs using Node.js. Also we can create APIs using Express.js also. But Node.js like is the previous one, like the old version, so we have to write lot of code in Node.js. But Express.js makes our code more easy. So in today's era, like the developer used to create API using Express.js only, but we must have to know the structure of Node.js, like the basic things. How can we create Node.js APIs with Node.js? Then we are going to learn about the Express.js. So now first of all let's discuss what is backend development. So backend is nothing but we are going to create server side. See what we are creating till now. We are using this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.js to create client side, right? Client side with the thing which is visible to the user. We called it as what, client side. But in backend we create server side of your web application. Like it is a work behind the scene, and we give logic, like your actual logic of your web application we give inside it. And we create database, we use the database operation, authentication, security, all these things we give inside our backend only. So that is why we call it as what, server side. Web application contains two parts. First one is client side and second one is server side. Client side we can create using these front end technologies, but to create this server side we must have to know this backend technologies. So now see, this is just a basic differences. Front end is nothing but what we can see. Backend is like the data behind the scene, all the processing things which are done. Okay, like when we are placing some order on our Flipkart, we are just placing some order and our order is getting stored in a database. How it is getting stored? Because of your backend. Okay, you are just hitting one API in your front end. What you are doing, you are just hitting one API, and that the data whatever you are sending, it will be taken out to your database. How it is taken out to your database? You are using your backend. Okay, so runs in the browser, runs on the server, and here we do use this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these technologies, and in backend we use this Node.js, Express.js, and for like database we use the MongoDB, and we can use different databases also. So yeah, like this is just a real life example, like in restaurant how the menu, like the things we can see. But how who create this, who are creating all these things? They are chefs. These are the things prepared in your kitchen, right? So this we consider it as what, backend. And like the what is database here? All the ingredients, all these things are like the database. So what is API here now? See, in kitchen you are preparing your food, and the in front of the customer, like the in front of the customer you are just giving placing all the foods. But who are giving this food to your customer? There is a waiter, like. So API is like this. API is a waiter taking order to kitchen. So you don't enter to the kitchen, but food comes to you. Yeah. So as I told you, in backend we create servers, right? Backend is what, server side. So what is server now? So server is like just a computer, you can understand. Computer or program that listen to your requests, process them, and sends the response. So what does the mean of it? So let me show you this one. See, this Google also is your server, right? So whenever what it does the server telling you, in a server is nothing but it is a computer or program. Whenever you are request something, whenever you want something, it just process on it and it will give you some response. So whenever I am typing something here, something like this, I want coding books, so I am just sending my request. So this request goes back to your server and it will check, it will process this and it will give you the response. Okay, based on whatever the request you are giving, first of all it will check it properly and based on this request it will give you the response. So this is mean by your what, server. So this is how APIs also work. Okay, so we learn about this, we see some fake APIs also. So let me go to that one fake API. So I'm going to one fake API. So this is one of the fake API. So just observe this URL in fake API. Yeah, so this is just a URL of your fake API. So what we are doing, we are just sending one request. We are just giving this kind of URL in our browser. You just see this one, I'm just sending this URL. So based on this request, it is giving me some to-dos of ID 1. See, okay, so in your backend also we give some this kind of routes. Okay, based on this routes you are like requesting some data. Based on this routes the server will give you some response. So this is mean by your what, server. So server is a like computer or program. Based on your request it will first of all process on it and it will like if there is a need of your database, first of all see this data is stored in some database, right? Whenever you are requesting something, or in your Google also, whenever you are requesting something like I am requesting for coding books, so all this this web pages, see when I search for, just for the coding books, there are multiple web pages are there. All this information will be stored in a database, right? So first of all it will process it, is there a need of your database or not. So first of all whenever you do some request it will process it, like it will check in database. If like from database it will give you the response. So that is why server contains three parts. First one is, first of all it will listen for the request, then it will process them, and then it will send the response. Okay, so yeah, any doubt in this server? Any doubt? Okay, so yeah, so this is just an example how in a browser we search. In a browser we just give me user data. So the server give you the results, like the send the response. Mostly the response will be in JSON only. See how it is giving me when I am using this fake API, it is giving me the data in the form of JSON, right? But when we are searching on our Google, it is not showing me in a JSON format. Why? Because to show our JSON data we use front end, right? We already saw this one. When we are getting this front end data, we are using this backend data, and we are using HTML CSS, and we are using all this data in our front end. So first of all from the backend, from our backend we will get the data in this JSON format only mostly. Okay, you can get the data in HTML format also, but this is very like easy or feel like flexible, you can say. We mostly get the data in this JSON format only. You can show this data in a like a beautiful UI also using this HTML CSS, all these things. So yeah, so now let's see what is API now. As I told you, it's like a waiter who serves you the food. So API is nothing but application programming interface. It is a bridge that allows two system to communicate. Okay, in a web apps, front end back end communicates. They can communicate using APIs. In front end you are hitting API. How can you hit the API? Using the fetch method. We learn about, we use this fetch method. We use this async await. Using that async await, we fetch API, and from API we are getting the data. How we are getting the data? From our backend. Who are going to our backend? These APIs are going. We are just creating one link. What we are doing in our backend, we are just creating a link like this. In our backend we are just creating a link like this. In this link we are giving some logic. whenever user just type like request something, some kind of route like this, just go to database and fetch some data and give this result to your like a client in this JSON format. Okay, so yeah, just see this one second. So what is API? API is like the communication system between your front end and back end. In back end you give all the logic, but how can we fetch the data, how can we get the data from your back end to your front end? We use API, we use this fetch method to get the data. So we can use, there are different methods also, like that. Not only the fetch, there is exhaust is also there. You can use fetch also, no worries. So API is like a set of rules, what request you send, what response you will get. So this is the example of API. So here you are requesting something, here you are giving some routes, means how we give some URLs like this. We are requesting something, it is giving you some response. Okay, so front end doesn't care where data it comes from, how DB works. It all the things it will be handled by your backend only. How to fetch the data from your database, how to send data to your front end. It all the things will be done by your backend only. The part of your, the work of your front end is to just to call API. Okay, the front end work is it just call API and uses the response. It just show this response. Okay, now yeah, we have four types of API request. So we have four types of API request. First one is get, post, put and delete. We called it as what, CRUD also. So what is get now? So see in this one. So just see this one. I am just giving some URL and we are getting some data. We are getting. So this is your get method. We are getting some data, we are not giving our data to somewhere else. So this is our get method. But when we are like log in some form, when we are giving some email ID, password, means we are sending our data to database. So that API we called it as what, post. Okay, we are creating some data. We use this get API when we just want to get the data from our database. In that scenario we use this get. Why we use this get? Just to read the data from your database. In that scenario we use this get API. And to put to create something like in database, you like it is just like a box which contains multiple data of users. If you just want to get the data of user, you directly can use this get API. If you want to add new user, you can use this post API. If suppose if you want to exist like edit something in existing data, if you want to edit something in that scenario, you can use this put API. Okay, so there are four methods. If you want to delete something from your database, if you want to delete something in that scenario, you can use this delete API. So there are the like types of API requests. We can like for like run this four types of API. We can use this get just to read the data. We can use this post API to create new data, and we use this put API to update the existing data, and we can even delete the data also. So this is just like a like how can we give the routes here. So to get the products we give it like this, and we give here also we give this slash only, like the route only we are giving, plus with this we give some data also, what we want to add in our database. And here we give like same in post also, here we give what kind of data we want to edit. With this route we give some data whatever we want to edit. Okay, so here also we give some ID, what like what user we want to delete, something like this we give. So this is called as what, CRUD. CRUD stands for create, read, update and delete. As I told you, mostly the whatever the data you will get from your database or from your backend, it will be in the format of JSON only. Okay, we learn about this JSON. JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. So it is not like a object, it is not directly like a object, it is object notation. See, in object we don't have this string for the keys, right? But in JSON we have this string. Okay, so using this JSON only you can send the data to your database, you can fetch the data. Why we are using JSON only? Because it is lightweight, it is very lightweight and it is very easy to read. That is why we use this JSON. So yeah, this is just an intro. So what is database? So database, it is the place where we can permanently store the data. So there are a lot of databases are there, like SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and NoSQL. NoSQL like MongoDB, DynamoDB is also there. So we can use any kind of database to store some data. So it will be permanent. Okay, so whenever we create some like a like a form, and we are giving some details, and after refreshing the form, the data is gone, right? So the data is not persistent, it is not like a permanent. But whenever you are using the database, it is permanent, it will be stored in a database. Anytime you can fetch it. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is just a basic intro about your backend. So now we are going to start our Node.js. So till now, any doubt in backend development, why we used it? Any doubt? Okay. So yeah, now we are going to start learning Node.js. So Node.js is nothing but it is an open source cross-platform runtime environment. We already know about it. It allows you to run JavaScript outside the browser. See, when we want to run JavaScript, we can run the JavaScript only in your console, right? In your browser's console. But when we install this Node.js, we can even run the JavaScript code in your terminal, means outside of your browser. So this is the benefit of your Node.js. Node.js is an open source cross-platform runtime environment. Okay, typically on the server it uses Google V8 engine. Okay, Java, it is an engine where we can run the code of your JavaScript. So yeah, unlike traditional web server, so what is the like Node.js contains some features. First of all, Node.js, like we learn about the synchronous asynchronous, right? So that topic is comes from this Node.js only. So unlike traditional web server that creates new thread for each request, Node.js uses event driven non-blocking input output model. This make it light, efficient, and highly scalable for real time application. What is the meaning of it? So first of all, just understand what is single threaded. So Node.js runs on a single thread, means it can handle one operation at a time. Okay, so we learn about the synchronous and asynchronous, right? So what is the meaning of synchronous? Means each line of your code run one by one. Each line of code, your whatever the code you are writing, it will run one by one. So suppose if there is some heavy code, if you want to fetch the data from the database, it is a heavy code. If it is a dependent, like if it is not a asynchronous, like your code, your application will be stuck, it must be wait, right? So this is some kind of issue, right? So Node.js resolves this issue. How it just a minute. So it resolves this issue. How it resolves? It uses the event loop. Okay, and how, what is the event loop? Now just this one. Yeah, from this image you can understand it more clearly. So what is event loop? Suppose whenever you are writing some code, some lines of code, here I'm writing something, and here I'm giving like hello, and here again I'm writing writing something. Okay, so suppose now I'm writing some code which takes some time, like I want to create some file. Okay, let me create one file. We are going to see how can we create files also. Yeah, here is the code also there. Okay, here this will work. Okay, it is not giving the code correctly, so let's take it from the code. So we are going to see how to create a file, how to read the data from your file also. So I will just, that is why I'm showing you the code directly. So now here I'm creating a file. For creating file we use this fs module, file system. We call this as what? File system. Okay, just see this one. Yeah, see I am doing here. I am first of all importing this fs module. This is a file system module. Fs stands for file system. This is a inbuilt module, like how we import like a use effect, react, like this we are importing. We can import some modules also, but to import we are not using this import export keyword. In backend you have to use this require keyword. Okay, it is very similar to how we import something, how we import like use effect, use state, context, api, all this thing. But instead of using that import keyword or export, we use this require. Means you are adding this fs module in your file, in your code. So how it is working, just see this one. I am first of all importing my file system and storing it inside this variable. So then after it, yeah, I'm just removing this one. So here I'm creating one file. Okay, see, just see this one. Here I'm not having any file. So to create any file, you can use this method, that is fs.write_file. Okay, here I'm using sync. So I will tell you the difference between what is sync and what happen if we are not using it. So I am creating one file, that is hello.txt, and here inside this file I am writing some content. Okay, now let me show this code to you. So I'm to run your code, you just have to use this node server.js. I'm just giving you like a theoretical explanation. We are going to see how to install everything. So I'm just running this code, just observe it here. See, just see this one. See, yeah, okay, this one is very small. So just see this one. Here your file is created. Okay, so how it is created? First of all, it will run this hello, this first one. Second one, here I use this write file sync method. Whenever we use this write file sync method, creating a new file will take some time, right? Will take some time. But whenever you use this sync method, means it will stop it till here and it will complete this one first, and then only it will go to the next statements, next lines of your code. That is why it is running line by line. Suppose if you are not using this sync method, now let's just see this one. Okay, okay, the name is I think not correct. Okay, just see this one. What's the error? Okay, just take this as a sync only. So why it is not working? Must work. Okay, this is sync versus async. Read file sync, just read file. And for write file, and I think there is some different method is there, so that is why it is giving some error. But just for now, try to understand the difference between this sync and async. Whenever you use this sync, like this, okay, here I am using the sync. Let me give this like this only. Now let's try. Okay, still it is giving some error. I think the method is little different, so we can change it later on in our notes also. So for now I am giving sync only. So now just see, try to understand the difference. Whenever you use this sync, your code will run line by line. Okay, but when you don't use this sync, it will like it when if it is taking some extra time, it will be go into the, like, it will on pause and your remaining code will be run. So that is why this Node.js is a single threaded. What does the meaning of single threaded means? What is the easy code, with the code which takes less time, it will be run first, and what the code which takes some more time, it will be run side by side. Okay, it will not block your UI, it will not block your code. Okay, so the code which is easy, it will run, and the code which is little expensive, it will be run side by side. So that is why Node.js is like a single threaded. We called it as what? Single threaded, and it is a non-blocking input output. Non-blocking means it is not blocking your code. Whatever is expensive code, it is running side by side, it is not blocking any other line of code. So that is why it is a non-blocking input output. So yeah, so we use event loop also. What is event loop here? So whenever you are writing code like this, whenever you are writing code like this, it will be stored in this event queue. All the code will be stored inside this event queue. The code, this what this event loop will do, what is the easy code, means non-blocking code. Whatever your non-blocking code, it will push this code inside this block. Whatever your blocking code, like your asynchronous code, it will push the code here. So the purpose of event loop is it will just check which is your blocking code and which is your non-blocking code. So it makes your work more easy. How it is making your work more easy? It is just separating the code, which is easy one, which takes less time. It is just pushing the code in separate block, and which is time consuming code, it is just pushing the code in a separate block. So this easy code will run side by side, and this expensive code also will run side by side. So that is why your operation will not be stuck, it will run every time. So this is the purpose of this event loop. It will just check and separate your code. So this is very important. It will ask in your interviews also, what is event loop. So what is event loop? Event loop is nothing but it will just check your event queue. Whatever your easy code or whatever the code which is not synchronous, it will just push the code in your non-blocking section, and whatever the code which blocks your operation, it will just put that code in a different section. So this is how this code is also running, and this code is also running. So this is how your input output is not blocking, your every line of code is running properly. So this is just the architecture of your Node.js, how your Node.js work. So yeah, I will tell you why this. Yeah, here this read file we have, require read file, but this is not working. I will tell you why. This write file must be work. Okay, but we are using the sync. So what is V8 engine? It is developed by your Google Chrome, compiles JavaScript into machine code and making Node.js very fast. So using this V8 engine, like inside your Node.js we have this V8 engine. Due to this we are able to run our JavaScript code outside of your browser. So and this libuv, what is this libuv? Is Node.js does not handle low level input output by itself. It uses libuv. Okay, what like this event loop and this event cube, and how it is we call this as what event pool also. So all this thing, it is not there in your Node.js. So it is internally it is using this libuv. Okay, libuv does not handle, Node.js does not handle this low level input output by itself. It uses this libuv. It is a library which is there inside your Node.js. So this event loop and this thread pool and this a file system, all these things are not there inside your directly not there inside your Node.js. Node.js internally using this libuv library. So this is just theoretical parts. So yeah, no need to be worried for that. If you are not just for that, try to understand what is event loop. What is event loop is doing, what is your easy code is there, it is just separating, and what is your expensive code, it is putting that into a separate file, so that every code is running on its own section. So yeah, Node.js core APIs. So Node.js have some core APIs also, like FS, file system, and HTTP and crypto, operating system modules. So there are some core APIs which Node.js contains. So Node.js doesn't contain this event loop, thread pool, asynchronous API. This is coming from your libuv library. So just now we discussed about this event loop, and this thread pool is like the whatever the operation, whatever the lines of code you are writing, it will be stored in this thread pool. Okay, asynchronous API. They are like all this asynchronous API, this read file, HTTP create server, all these are the asynchronous APIs. Okay, so now let's discuss. Now we are going to discuss about the coding part now. So now how can we create APIs using the Node.js? First of all, we just have to install the Node.js by going to this official website. So we already installed this one, right? So you just have to check the versions. You can check it. If it is there, it will give you the version name. I'm checking it. So yeah, it is there, and I'm checking npm as well. Yeah, okay, so it means what, Node.js install, I can directly create the APIs. Okay, so as I told, we just now discussed in our backend also what is web server. Web server is the the program that contains listen and then is process and it will give you the response. So it will request for a client in a browser we are requesting, and it will process, like it will analyze everything. If there is any need of the backend, it will process it and it will give you the response. So in Node.js we can create the web server. How we are going to do in our backend? We are creating web servers. So to create web server, we use this HTTP module. Like this is a module, is there in your Node.js only. So this is built in. We directly can use it. We don't have to install anything. We can directly use this HTTP module, and using it we can create server. Okay, now let's see what is routes. So what does the meaning of route here? So you are giving some routing like this URL. So when I am going to this json.placeholder also, see this to do's, this is your one kind of route, right? When I am going to this route, I am getting this kind of data. When I am going to some different route, suppose I am going to this user's route, yeah, it is giving me some different data. Okay, when I am going to this users, just user and giving slash, yeah, it is giving me empty. Why? Because it is not containing anything. So based on the routes, based on the URLs, whatever you are giving, based on it, it is giving you some kind of data. So yeah, let me see this one. I'm going to, like, suppose different, I'm going to the home page. See, it is not, it is also not like a added route. So that is why it is showing you empty. So at the time of creating APIs, you must have to give the routes properly. So based on these routes only, the front end use the API. They use the like fetch methods. They use this API only, this kind of API only, and they use the fetch method. And here they give the path, like the route they give. If they want the users data, just type this users and they will get the data. Okay, if they, yeah, just let me put it, I'm giving user, so they are getting this user data. In front end they are just fetching this API. So suppose if you want data of your, like, orders, so in front end you just use this orders API. From it you will get the data. So everything, it depends on the route, right? Whatever the route you are giving, based on it, you will get the data. So this routes is very important. So what are routes? Routes are the path in your web server that responds differently depending on the user's request. Whatever the request you are giving in your routes, based on it, it will give you the data. Okay, if you are requesting for the users in your route, based on this route only, it will give you their respective data. If you are requesting for the orders, based on that request only, it will give you the data. If you are requesting some different thing, it will give you like no data is there, something, anything. So yeah, route is very important. So we just have to use this slash to give the route. You can give, on this route I want the data of all the home pages. On this route, on this about route, I want the data of about pages. Okay, so now let's see. So just now we discussed about this server and routes. So now we are going to create APIs. How can we create APIs? How can we create servers? So creating APIs is nothing but now see, now we are not using the like MongoDB anything, right? So creating servers, creating route means you are just creating these URLs. Based on this routes, you want to fetch some data, like here. So based on this route, whatever the route, it depending on this route, I want to fetch the data. So now we are going to create that thing now. So first, steps for creating web server with routes in Node.js. the first step is we have to initialize our Node.js project. We just have to use this, like we already installed, like Node.js is already installed, so we just have to create one folder and we just have to change the directory. Now after it we have to run this command. So yeah, I'm just running this command, npm init y. So yeah, it is already there, just it will create package.json. I will delete it. When you run this and in like a npm init y, I am removing this one also. So we are going to see everything from starting. So this is just an empty folder. Now I am giving npm init and here I am giving y. So yeah, just see this one. It will create one JSON. Did you mean npm init? Yeah, the command is not proper. We have to give space. Okay, see this one. We have to give the space npm init then space hyphen y. Okay, just see this one. It is creating this package.json. Okay, in this package.json, it is having the name of your folder and the version and your main file. All this like necessary things it will contain. So whenever you import some modules or install some modules, it will be like added inside this package.json. All the necessary things it will be listed out in this package.json file. So this is the first step. And now we have to create the server, right? Just now we learn about in backend what our work is to create server, and our work is to create this routes. Based on this routes we are fetching some data. So now let's create routes. Like now let's create servers. So to create server, I am first of all creating one file, that is server.js. You can give any file, but this is the standard name, server.js. Okay, so now just see whatever the code we have to write to create this server. So first of all we have to use this http. We are importing it. To import any module, instead of using the import keyword, we use this require in your backend. So first of all we are importing this. So this is your first step, const and see we are just importing, and we are importing all this complete module inside one variable, that is your http. We can console this variable also. You can see whatever the thing it contains. So I am just consoling this http. It contains lot of things. So I'm running this file. So to run this file we use this command node server.js. See, okay, it contains lot of things, like whatever the request http like path also you can see. Okay, see it contains this methods also, like yeah. Okay, status codes also. We are going to see this status codes also in our next classes. Yeah, so these are the methods which contains by this http module. So now let's see, there are different methods. How can we like next line of codes to create your server. So now we have to import this fs module. This is optional. Like we use this fs module to create files, to read files, to delete files. Okay, if you are dealing with files, if you are working with files, if you want to create directly files, like we can create directly files from here. But instead of creating directly files like this, like from your GUI, you can create files using this fs modules also. Okay, now this one is optional. You can skip this line of code also. So then after it, we have to import this path module also. Why we use this path? To handle your file paths. Like file paths means, see this one. So this backend coding, this is my folder which is there inside this desktop and OneDrive. Like this is a complete path, right? Path of my folder, right? So to handle all this path in your Node.js, we use this path module. We use this fs module to work with your files, but we use this path module to give a proper like file paths For that we use this path modules. This is your port number. You can give any port number, but this one is standard. So on which port you want to run your code. Okay, like this API is like a deployed one, this dummy API. This is a deployed one. But now you are working, now you are creating API in your computer, right? So you must have to give some port number. So we are just giving some port number here. So let's see, let me take the code from here till now. So I'm using the file system. Okay, so let me give the const here as well. It's just we are in this system, we are just importing, right? We are not doing anything extra. We are just importing some modules and we are creating one variable for port. So now it is a time for creating your server. To create a server, we use this HTTP only. To create this server, we use this HTTP. In this HTTP, we have one method, that is create server method. This create server method, it is a function. In this function, we are giving this one more function, that is your callback function. This callback functions contains two objects. First one is request and second one is response. As I told you, in server, what it is doing, we are requesting something, it is giving me some response. So that is why it is containing two objects. First one is request and second one is response. So whatever, whenever the like a user requests for something, you are giving some response. So now let's create this one. So now here I'm giving one const server. So yeah, you just have to give HTTP create server. See this one, request response, and yeah, after it you are just giving some console. So you don't have to give this request.url. You can give it, but you can skip it as well. So yeah, you are directly using this inside a console. So let me show you this one, what it is doing actually. See what it is doing actually means it will give you the request.method. We just now learn about the four methods, right? Get, post, put, delete, all are your four methods. So whatever the method requested by your user, it will be stored inside this request.method. And request.url means whatever the URL. See, whenever you are giving some URL like this, it will be stored, it will be there, it will be inside your request.url. So we are just consoling it, we are just seeing inside our console. Okay, so now let's see what is our next step after it. So now we are giving routings here. See, just till now we just create a server and we give request response. Now based on the route, I want to show some output. If request.url, if user requests for this slash URL or this home URL, I want to show this output. Response, just give the response dot end, and in response just show this URL. See, this is just like a starting. So instead of this just hello welcome to this page, we will fetch the data from our database and we will show the database here in the form of JSON. But for starting we are learning this one because we don't know about the database still now. So we are just giving the requested like the URLs. On this slash URL I am giving the response, welcome to the home page. And similarly, if a user requests for this about route, just I am showing the I am giving the response, this response I am giving. Similarly, if a user requests for this contact page, I am giving this response. Okay, this is like a dummy only, right? We are not fetching any data. But what the actually we have to do, we have to send the data here by fetching some data from our database. Inside this response dot end, we have to fetch some data from our database and we have to show the data in a JSON format. So this is just dummy, so that is why we are just directly showing some text. So let me show you this one. Yeah, just see this one here, till here it is enough. Yeah, just see this one. Okay, just we are giving some like conditions we are giving. If request.url, whatever the URL typed by the user in your URL bar, If it is slash or home, just give the response dot and welcome to the home page. If the URL is about, like containing slash about, give this response. If it is contact, give this response. If like something different, give this response. For not for page not found. So now we are just create the server and we give our routes. So now we have to run it. Okay, we have to listen it. So for the listening purpose, we have to use this server.listen. Okay, just now we just create the server. Now we have to listen it. For listening purpose, we have to use the server.listen, and here we have to give our port number. So let me show you. After this one, we are giving this one. I am giving server here. So now the code is completed. So now we just have to run the code. So I am running my code using this node server.js. Okay, just see this one, why it is giving this error. Port is not defined. Yeah, port is okay. Port is not defined. We have to give the port number also. Const port 300. See, server running at localhost 300. See, it is showing me this line of code, server running, and this is localhost, and this is the port number we are taking, whatever the port we give. So you just have to click on it. So when I just minimize it like this, I'm just clicking on it. See, it is showing me welcome to home page. Just observe in your like in this terminal also, it will give you every update. It will give you every update. See, it is showing me the method. In this console, I ask for the method also, right? Request.method, this is my method, and request for. See, this is showing this text, and request for which URL I am asking. I am requesting. I am just requesting for the slash. Suppose if I am giving slash home. Okay, so just observe in this console, in this terminal. See, it is showing me this is my method. This is the name of my method. It is coming. How it is coming? This get method, because we use this one, request dot method, this object. From this request object, I am trying to access this method. So from it, I am getting this get. If it is uses the post method, put method, delete method, it will show that methods also. So, and from this request for, after it, it is giving, we are using this request.url. From this, we are getting this which path you are giving. I am giving home path here. So it is showing me the home. So suppose we give some more paths, more routes also. I give contact also. So on this contact, when I am going to this contact route, see, just see this one. It is showing me the method and it is showing me the route. Similarly, I am going for the about us also, about page also. This is not page, first of all. Pages will be there inside your HTML only. So this is server and this is your route, not path. See. Okay, so this is get method and this is your route about. Okay, so this is the way we can create the like a server with routes. So what we are doing here, we are creating APIs only, right? So let me minimize it. See, this is the API only. You can directly use this API in your with your front end using the fetch method. Okay, you can use it, but we are not fetching data here. We are directly showing some content. To fetch some data, there is a need of database MongoDB, or you can need some. You can use some dummy data also. You can use some dummy data, but for in this class, this is just a first class, right? So that is why I'm using this welcome some kind of text like this. Let me minimize it. So yeah. So yeah, just revise it once again. So how can we create server in your Node.js? First of all, you just have to use this npm init y. What it will do, it will just create this package.json, and this is the like whatever the necessary things will be needed in your complete development, it will be listed out here. And then after it, we are creating this file server.js. Inside it, we are using this We are importing this http modules, fs module, and this path module, and we are giving some port number. Then after it we are creating server. How can we create server? Using this http only we can create server. Okay. Now we are giving in this server like expect two object. First one is request and response. So inside it we are giving some console. This is just for your reference only, right? Request dot method, whatever the method is entered by the user, it is giving me that method, and whatever the url requested by the user, it is showing me the url. So now after it we are giving routings. Based on this route, based on this slash route, I am showing this output. I am giving response. See, based on this requested route I am giving response. Based on this requested about route I am giving this response. Okay, so this is the way we can create a server in your Node.js. So no need to be worried like if we are just creating HTML pages like this. So it is not like this. You are creating servers. But the minor thing we are not doing here is, instead of sending data in a JSON format, we are just sending text. This is the minor thing we are not doing here now. So yeah, any doubt till now? You guys want to ask me anything? Okay, so yeah, so what happened here? So HTTP will create the server. Request object tell what the client requested, and response object lets you send responses back. And this request.url give the path requested by the client, and we check the path and response accordingly. If path doesn't match, okay, I will show you this one also. If path doesn't match like this, if I am giving some different path, I am giving post here. So this path we didn't define in our server. So let me give you, it is showing me this phone not for page not found. So this is all the things. So what server.listen will do, makes a server runs on this port number 300. Okay, so this is the way we can create. We are creating APIs only. This URL is nothing but your API only. This is your API only, right? So while Node.js core can handle the routes, but Express.js make it much simpler. Okay, using this Node.js, we are giving this if conditions. We are giving if this URL is matched, show this output. So we don't have to do write code like this when we are using this Express.js. Okay. So yeah, in our next class we are going to see what is modules, and we already use these modules, this OS mod, this path modules, and yeah, this fs module, http modules, and I will show you why that sync file like the file create file what's not working properly. I will show you that one also in our next class. Okay, in our next class we are going to see what are the modules, types of modules like core modules, custom modules, and third party modules. Modules topic we already cover in our javascript also, but this is very similar here also, but instead of using import export we are just directly using like a required. We are using this require if the module is built in. If you want to install some module, for that we use the import only. Okay, we are going to see that one in our next class. After this modules, yeah, after this modules we are going to start okay, there are 30 modules. Okay, after that we are going to start this Express.js. There are very linked, right? Using Express.js also we are going to create APIs, but in this Express.js I will show you with like actual dummy data. Yeah, so that's all for our today's session. So we will meet our in our next session. We are going to see about these modules. Then we will start our Express.js. Okay. So yeah, you guys want to ask me anything? Any doubts? Okay, so yeah, now I'm going to end our session. Thank you. Bye bye.